Hey everybody, we just wrapped up day 3 of Media Days. My name is Jason Butler with the Telegraph.
This is Jordan Hill in the Columbus Ledger-Enquirer.
And we are about to break down our ballots for the preseason All-SEC team. We're going to go through this quick. We're just going to really hit on the first team, the top guys that we think deserve to be at each position. Let's start at quarterback. Jordan, I think it's a pretty obvious one, but who do you have as your first team's quarterback?
You know, looking at Jalen Hurts in Alabama, really hard to argue against him. And then another guy that, you know, yesterday we got to talk a little bit about was Nick Fitzgerald at Mississippi State. To me, you know, it seems like the talent at quarterback has gone up, but to me it's the top two guys right there in the SEC West.
Yeah, got to go Jalen Hurts. I think what he did last year as a freshman, the key, as it's been discussed all offseason, is developing him at the position. Now that the previous offensive coordinators, which is kind of weird to say with Kiffin and Sarkisian now gone, now that, you know, as I just said, they are out, and he's got a new coordinator, and they got to do their part to develop him more as a passer. At running back, I have to go Nick Chubb, number 1. Benny Snell at Kentucky, number 2. What do you think?
I had Chubb at 1. To me, you know, really wasn't much of an argument, but, you know, a lot of really good running backs. I actually went with Darius Geis at LSU. Really impressed with what he was able to do after Fournette got hurt, and I feel like he's really going to ride that into this season.
Tough to argue. Reason I'm going Snell, number 2. Really impressed with how they played against Georgia. It was the one time you saw a runner go against Georgia last year where they lined up, showed what they were going to do, couldn't stop him. I think he has a big sophomore season for the Wildcats. At receiver, I got Christian Kirk, Texas A&M as my top guy, and then Calvin Ridley at Alabama, number 2. To me, totally interchangeable. What do you think?
That's actually exactly what I had, and it was pretty cool today getting to talk to Christian Kirk. You know, he really seems like a guy that, coming off a big year, you know, it doesn't seem like there's any reason he won't, you know, not only meet those numbers from last year, but probably take them.
Right. And then at tight end, top 2 tight ends, who do you have, Jordan?
Well, tight end, I went with Hayden Hurst from South Carolina, and then a guy that both of us have got to see a good bit already, Isaac Nada there in Georgia. I feel like coming into his sophomore year, he'll probably be another big threat.
I have the same 2. One caveat I want to add, Charlie Warner, not an option, and yes, he didn't have that many statistics. I have a feeling, based on, and you can read Brandon Sudge's story at the Telegraph, he's a guy to look out for at the position this year. I think he's going to get a lot more yards than maybe people expect. I think he's somebody that this coaching staff really likes. Offensive line, we're asked to rank 8 guys, so we're just going to hit the big names. Martez Ivey, to me, potential first rounder, moving from guard to left tackle. Really like what he can do out there. Braden Smith at Auburn, he's actually going from guard to tackle as well, except opposite. He's going to right tackle. Great in the run game. So you know, with them adding Jarrett Stidham who can throw the ball, I think they're going to see a lot more extended runs when they try to run. And then, of course, the 2 guys at Alabama, Ross Pierschbacher, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, Jonah Williams. Those guys, Alabama, once again, is going to have a stacked line.
You know, and that's something pretty much you can just count on. If, you know, it's really hard to look through all these guys. There's such talent, you know. It's usually a safe assumption. Let's give some of the Alabama guys a little bit of love.
Yeah, and then at center, Frank Ragnow at Arkansas. I think he's kind of a very worthy choice there. And then, of course, Bradley Bozeman at Alabama again. You could make a case for him as the first team center. You know, to me, again, another interchangeable situation.
And again, you know, sort of along the same lines as Alabama, Arkansas already, you know, with Bielema, Brett Bielema as a head coach. Offensive line continues to be a real big strength.
Now at defensive line, I'm going with Georgia's Trent Thompson as the top option, and you really look at his performance against TCU with 3 sacks. He was 3rd last year in team tackles. For a defensive tackle, I mean, that's really impressive. I think he has a monster junior season, sets himself up for the NFL draft after this year. I do expect with a good year he does turn pro. And then obviously Deron Payne at Alabama, Marquise Haynes at Ole Miss, and a guy, Jabari Zuniga at Florida. He was kind of a rotational guy at times last year. Was, again, having seen him live against Georgia, very impressed with him. I think he steps up in a big way. CeCe Jefferson, also another Florida guy. Those 2 guys look to really anchor this Florida unit this year. Could cause problems for opposing defenses, even with them losing 8 starters from last year's squad.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see a lot of these defensive linemen. A guy you hit on, Marquise Haynes, we got to see him live when we went to Mississippi, and you can't help but be impressed with what he's been able to do, and I think he'll probably come back just as strong this year.
At linebacker, this is a no-brainer to me. Arden Key is my top selection, and then I'll tell you what, I got Roquan Smith, another Georgia guy, in second. When we rank these guys, and these are inside and outside guys, so that's why they're kind of grouped together there. More so with these teams, these preseason teams are kind of going on a 4-3. Even though the 3-4 seems to be more and even more prevalent defense these days.
Discussion for maybe another.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting off on a rabbit trail, but yeah, I love the way Roquan Smith plays this game, sideline to sideline. That new age linebacker, I think he has a great season. He and Natrez Patrick at Georgia look to form a great tandem. Reggie Carter as well, really a great trio for that matter. Arden Key, obviously, he'll make the case for being one of the best defenders overall in the SEC this year.
And the guy that I wound up putting number 2, I had Arden Key at number 1, Jordan Jones at Kentucky. I mean, you look at a guy like Mark Stoops, who's a defensive-minded coach. Perfect kind of guy to help Kentucky's defense continue and really help the Wildcats, I think, have a shot to make some noise in the East.
Absolutely, I love Jordan Jones's game. He again, against Georgia, for me, a lot of it was looking at how these guys did against Georgia, being able to recall what they did when I saw them live. So impressed with his ability on the football player, sure tackler. Can't really go wrong with him up there that high either. At DB, it's all about Alabama once again. Minka Fitzpatrick, Ronnie Harrison, those are my top 2 guys. I'll tell you what though, I think Dominique Sanders has a bounce back season. I have him in my top 4. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I went with, again, the top 2 guys from Alabama, and I think that's a good point about Sanders because, when he was, early on in his career there at Georgia, really stood out. I don't think last year was what we would consider the norm for him, and I think he is probably going to come back and make some really big plays for that Georgia defense.
Absolutely, he's too talented. He dealt with a lot of injuries last year, a lot of just nagging kind of things. I think he returns to form this season, possibly makes that run at having the Georgia career interceptions record. At place kicker, Daniel Carlson, I think he's the best kicker in the SEC. Fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. And it's kind of rare that you see the kickers come to media days, but when you produce like Daniel Carlson has, it really makes sense. No question there.
So sticking with the kicking game, J.K. Scott. He's entering his 9th season at Alabama, it sure seems like, but he's
like
obviously
Case Keenum at Houston. He's just there.
He just keeps coming back, but he's the obvious pick at punter. Return specialist, actually return specialist and all-purpose. I flip-flop these 2. I want to know what you got, Jordan. I went with Deebo Samuel and Christian Kirk for the return specialist, and then Christian Kirk, Deebo Samuel for all-purpose. Love the way you're splitting hairs here, but those 2 guys to me fit that category really well. I'll tell you what, if I had a chance to put Sony Michel in one of those 2 spots, I would. He's not available, so that's why Samuel and Kirk are the guys for me.
I went with, as far as return specialist, Christian Kirk and Evan Berry at Tennessee.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Made a lot of really big plays for the Volunteers, and I'm sure they are going to count on him again. All-purpose, I actually put Darius Geis and Deebo, like you said. I think really you can't go wrong with that kind of group of guys, I'm sure we're going to see a whole lot of highlights from any of those guys.
Absolutely, and we'll find out in the next day or so who makes these all-SEC preseason teams voted by the media. Until then, I'm Jason Bowe with the Telegraph. He's Jordan Hill with the Ledger-Enquirer. Thanks for watching.